Right, hello, fellow Reds. Welcome along to the United View. It's our first ever one today. Thank you for joining us. Set up by at the Reds United. Of course, you can tweet us throughout the show at the United View. You can get in touch with any talking points from today. Of course, we're going to discuss the United Sunderland game. Was it brilliant? Was it shocking? Was it as bad as we all think? I don't know. Tom will be giving us his insights, and also we're going to chat transfers. Di Maria. We're going to chat Rojo or Rojo, however you want to pronounce his name. Talk a bit about him a bit later on as well. I believe Tom's also got some stats from a scorecard as well, which is one of the people he writes for. And also, we're going to have a very in-depth conversation into whether Balotelli is the most hated footballer for Manchester United fans on the planet at the moment. We've put a poll up on Twitter, which you can join the debates in right now. If you're just on our bar there, go and tweet us at the United View. Tweet us now at the United View. Give us all your opinions while we chat to you. Now, Tom, thank you for joining us. Tom Doyle is our expert in the corner today. He's a freelance writer and editor for ESPN Scorecard and Goal. Tom, thank you for coming on.
Evening, thanks for having me.
You are a Red, aren't you?
I am indeed, yep.
So you was today, I believe, working for Goal while watching the game, right?
Yeah, that's right, yeah. It was an edgy day today. But,
yeah, it was. It was a bit weird, wasn't it? Because we all knew that the game was coming up, yet we was all focused on Di Maria signing for us, which was really weird. But let's start by talking about the performance. Sunderland United, could you talk through it for us?
Sure. Pretty much, it's good. I think it's good that United have finally got off the mark with a point. But of course, most people were hoping that we'd go to Sunderland and get all three. But given the injury concerns that we had and we've had this week, in the fact that we basically haven't got a central midfield at the moment with Herrera, Carrick, Fellaini all out, I think I'm pleasantly surprised by our first half performance. While I think we didn't really have the cutting edge today, and that's the same problem as we had against Swansea, I see some improvements today, and it's good. I think the fact that a three-man defence, including two recent youth graduates, managed to hold out away from home. I think there's plenty of positives to take, but there's also a lot of work to be done if we want to get United back to where we should be.
Yeah, I mean, of course, Mata gave us a lead. Valencia doing what I love about him. I don't understand why he doesn't run at defenders more. Tom, why doesn't Valencia get down that bar line? He's the fastest footballer in the world, okay? Wing back is a great position for him. He's strong, he can tackle, he can cross, he can punt the ball, he can clear it, he can head it. Why doesn't he like beating a left back, especially Chelsea's last season, sixth choice left back that they had to send him on loan? I mean, why is he so scared? Why was he so scared to take on Van Arnhout? I mean,
I think one of Valencia's, one of his biggest strengths is also one of his biggest weaknesses. That, like you say, he's so good at beating his man down the wing because he's got pace, power. He's so versatile. He can defend. Can put in a shift at the back. But I think other fellow Reds out there, and surely you will agree with me that he's the most one-footed player you've ever seen. So the main problem for Valencia is that he loves going down the wing, but of course, like opposition defenders know that's what he's going to do, and that is, he's been found out in the last couple of years. So defenders knowing that he's only really got a right foot, I can count on one hand the amount of times he's used his left foot before even to control the ball. So, when he does attack a defender, that defender knows that if they show him inside, then he's going to have to pass the ball and move it on. So they try and avoid that at all costs. Just shot him inside, and I think it's affected his confidence recently as well in the last year or so. The fact that he gave away the number 7 shirt as well. He's suffering from a crisis of confidence, and I think that plays into it. That he's been found out a little. So I'd like to see him do it more, but wing back suits him now because he's lost a bit of that creativity, but he can still perform a good role there.
Yeah, I mean, and it was a great poacher's finish by Juan Mata as well. That put us 1-0 up, and then, of course, they came back and equalised through the Jack Rodwell header. Unfortunately, the bad side of Valencia's defensive attributes, he just didn't really keep his man, did he? But either way, still wonder why we didn't have a guy on the post, personally. But there we go.
That's always, I always ran against. I can never understand why people don't have, there's not two people on the post. You always see so many goals at the top level going either corner. The keepers just can't get to it. And unfortunately, like as you say, lost his man. But we're playing with youth defenders and wingers converted into defenders. So, it was the same with Ashley Young last week as well. So I'm never necessarily surprised when forwards can give the likes of Valencia Young the slip at corners because they just haven't necessarily been trained, from a young age to do that. So it's just an unfortunate fact of playing a 3-5-2.
Like Luke Shaw will be, which is brilliant, and of course Raphael's still uppercut. I mean, hello, by the way, you can get involved. The United View is all about your views, the Reds views. Make sure you tweet our link out, get fellow Reds involved. It is, of course, our first show. It's our pilot. We're, of course, going to be back next week. We're lucky to have Tom's experts with us. If you want to tweet us throughout of anything we're talking about at the United View, it's just in the bar below us. Hello to DAY15 who's got in touch. Big United fan. He's already got the Di Maria in the United kit in his profile picture. He says, I think Valencia is good, but he just lacks the confidence. As young, don't do that. But with Di Maria coming in, it could change the confidence of the wingers having that extra quality in their side.
Yeah, it definitely could. I mean, when you have someone like Di Maria who comes in, he's just simply world class. There's no doubts about his quality. I mean, he's a World Cup finalist. He's won everything with Real. He's instrumental to them. I still can't believe they're actually letting him go.
Well, we'll come back to that. Let's hold on Di Maria for now. Obviously, I mentioned it because you said, but let's hold on that. Let's keep it all in the brain. But obviously, the main problem today, we couldn't make it 2-1. I feel we played better in the second half. Was creativity. Van Gaal hit on it. The final ball wasn't good enough. We saw it the whole of last season. Rooney, he plays the best final ball when he's deep, but when he's up front on his own, it's just not good enough. So, I mean, how are we going to do it? Personally, for me, the guy who needs to play that final ball is Juan Mata. And that's where my blame lies. For me, Juan Mata is the guy who should be playing that final pass. Am I wrong to think that? Should it be someone else in the team? I mean, personally, the ball through should be played by the centre midfielders or the guys behind the front two. The guy behind the front two needs to create for the strikers. And for me, when I was watching the game, when Januzaj came on, he was playing more balls to Rooney's feet and to Van Persie's feet than Mata. Mata was going more sideways and back. And for me, this is a massive point on Twitter. People really disagree with me on this. If I was given a choice, right now, I'll be playing Januzaj over Mata. I mean, what do you think?
That's a fair point, I think, in terms of how Januzaj came on. Like you say, he was playing more. He was playing more passes with Rooney. He was linking well. I mean, there was a point in the game when United were attacking in the second half, and Rooney and Mata tried to exchange passes, and they both just sort of they lost the ball and then put their arms up in frustration and just felt that it was I think they were on mixed wavelengths, and you could just see the frustration that they weren't quite clicking. I really rate Mata. He's one of my favourite players. He was one of my favourite players even before he came to United for Chelsea. But it's frustrating because, as you say, he should be playing the final ball, and in fact, Mata is actually. He scored a lot. I think he scored about 7 in the last 9 games for United, including last season. But he's just not playing that final ball at the moment, as you say. And maybe Januzaj deserves to be given a chance. But I think the problem lies further back in that the players that are supposed to be linking with Mata just aren't of the required quality at the moment. We had we had Cleverley and Fletcher today, and although I like Cleverley because he's come through the system and he's not a bad passer. He's not great, but he's not bad.
Wow.
Yeah. A lot of people disagree with me, but his stats from last season were actually really
Cleverley today. I'm going to put this out there. Cleverley today might have been him and Fletcher in the midfield might have been 2 of the most poorest midfielders I've ever seen wear the Manchester United shirt. Sorry, I love Darren to bits. He's United through and through. He's a great guy, a great player. He's absolutely brilliant. He's great on the pre-season tour. Deserves the vice captaincy for his experience and what he's been through. But for me, them two today got overshadowed by Lee Cattermole. There was a point where Lee Cattermole ran through our midfield and through our defence. If that was Messi, I'd applaud him. But that was Lee Cattermole who done that. And for me, I said this to you earlier on off air. I mean, personally, I think that Fletcher, Cleverley, Herrera, they're all too similar. They're all too similar and they've got no strength. They look to go forward more than they look to cover the gaps back. And they can't do a good enough job defensively to start for Manchester United. That's where the transfer rooms of Vidal, De Jong all come in. We'll talk about them a bit later on. But how would you play it? How would you play that midfield? Given everyone was fit, today we had, I believe, Valencia, Cleverley, Fletcher, Young in our midfield. And I did put it out there, I think that is the weakest midfield I've ever seen in a United shirt in terms of a four. I don't know.
I'd say the weakest midfield I've probably ever seen was when...
well, wasn't it? I think I have got the tweet here. I think it was Let's have a look. I did, by the way, ask for your questions earlier on, and some people did get in touch. Was it Raphael when he played centre midfield over Pogba, and then against Arsenal we played Raphael, O'Shea, Gibson, Fabio against Arsenal?
That was an impressive one. I think we might have actually won that game.
We won that game 2-1, so they're better than Valencia, Cleverley, Fletcher, and Young.
No, that midfield you were talking about before. That was quite pertinent. The midfield of Raphael and Park Ji-sung that actually convinced Paul Pogba to leave. So midfields like that. He said once that lineup got named, he knew he was leaving no matter what. So. No, it's been dark days for our midfield for a while now. But going back to the question that you asked, I think if everybody was fit at the moment, I would play Michael Carrick alongside Herrera, because it would allow Carrick to do what he does best, which is sit in front of the defence. He's almost an auxiliary centre back in the sense that he sort of sits and he allows the wing backs to press forward. He's great in his distribution. He makes a lot of interceptions. He's one of the best in the Premier League at making interceptions.
And he can pick out that pass for the creativity, which we can't.
He can indeed. And his quickness of thought would really fit well with Herrera, who, Herrera, watching him last season, he's fantastic on the ball. He would link brilliantly with Mata, and the passing ability and the calmness, I think that was the most important thing today. They were just lacking the calmness with the young defenders behind them, and cleverly Fletcher, going further back, Blackett and Keane when he came on. They all looked like they were caught in headlights at times, and at times they were just hoofing the ball. I remember Keane once just sliced the ball on the volley high up the pitch, and I immediately thought that's not what a Manchester United player should be doing. But
however, Tyler Blackett, I believe, is looking quite good. Personally, I mean, I did say earlier on, I mean, a lot of United fans were worried. Obviously, it wasn't the best performance today. We got a draw, fair enough. Hopefully, more transfers come. We would improve. Van Gaal says the first 3 months will be hard. But I have, talking about midfield, I have kind of looked at the team we played today, and I've looked at, if everyone was fit and available, what team I'd play. And even if maybe we brought in new signings, I've looked at our starting 11 today and taken 7 players out and replaced them with 7 people on the sidelines, or potential new signings. 7 people out of 11. And I've gone for De Gea in goal. If we're going to keep his formation, by the way, I've gone for Jones in the defence. For me, I think he's going to come on leaps and bounds with Van Gaal. We can have dodgy games here and there, but consistency would tell. Then I've said Blackett just for the reason that he's starting to prove himself, but then Evans has still got to come back, so he's got to have a shot. So there's 1 player there, right? Then I've gone Rojo, our new signing. He will start, so that's 2. I've then gone for the wing backs of either Raphael or Di Maria, and Luke Shaw. So there we go, straight away. That's 4 players in our back 5 replaced. In our midfield, I've gone for Herrera and Carrick, or if maybe De Jong or Vidal potentially come in. That's then 2 different players totally in the middle of the park. I've then, sticking to what I said earlier, and gone for Januzaj behind Mata, and then gone for Rooney and Robin Van Persie up front. Now, if he was going to go to the 4-3-3 formation, I would drop Robin for Di Maria and play Rooney through the middle. I don't think there's any. He's given himself a problem, Van Gaal, making Rooney captain, because if he wants to go to that formation, he can't drop Wazza now, who's made him captain.
Yep, he said as much. United actually tweeted it out today, picture of him training, saying that Van Gaal was talking about the 3-5-2. He's saying the 3-5-2 gives him it gives him the ability to play Rooney and Van Persie together, because in his other preferred system, like you say, the 4-3-3, he can't play them both, or he has to shift Rooney into a position that, we've seen time and again he can fill in positions, but his best role is as a main striker or off the main striker, and that's where he has to play. And this is the formation that gives Van Gaal the ability to do that.
I've got to say hello to Red_Devil3212, says Tyler Blackett looks apart, inexperience aside, which I think is true. Hello to Western Ropes, who says our best lineup could be De Gea in goal, Evans, then Vlar or Hummels, they've said. Rojo, and then Shaw, Di Maria, Cuadrado, Blind, Vidal, Herrera, Rooney, RVP. I'm not sure if that's 11 players there, but I like your enthusiasm on all them new signings. Yeah. Hello to Zaneman S on Twitter, who says Juan Mata has to play. Hello to Red Devil again, who says currently Januzaj, he seems to have the bit extra, but we need to fix behind them first, which is true. The whole does need feeling. Joshua, who's a Domino Way, has said, I'll play Kagawa over Mata and Januzaj.
That's a curveball. But Kagawa showed at Dortmund he can play that role brilliantly. But I think it's a struggle because now regardless of what you think of David Moyes, 3 managers now, Ferguson, Moyes, and then Van Gaal have all effectively decided that Kagawa is not the man to play the main role in whatever formation they put out. So there's got to be something that fans aren't seeing. Every week that only managers and coaches can see on the training pitch day in day out, and there've been question marks over Kagawa's fitness and his strength to play in the Premier League. And I've been one of the people that's been most strongly calling for him, like last season when we were craving that creativity.
And he did really do it, did he? I mean, if we're going to be honest, he did really do it.
And he was given chances and he just didn't really step up. I think I still rate him. I still think he's a great player, but I just think United isn't necessarily the club for him. And I think he'd benefit from potentially going back to Dortmund or to another club.
Yeah, and I think also if we're looking to sell him, maybe selling him now is one of the best options. I mean, we can get still 16, 17 million for him, I reckon, still. I mean, hello to Jake _MUFC _Yates, who says, we only have one central midfielder, Herrera, who is good enough for us. Unfortunately, need more signings. We'll come back to signings in just a moment. Hello to Gregory, who says, at the moment, Jan is proving why Jose was right to get rid. He doesn't do enough to get himself involved. Adnan to start at MK Dons, I think. Well, to be honest, I want to see. I'm going to be interested to see what. This is a totally different subject. We haven't got this down today. I mean, just quickly, Tom, what do you expect Van Gaal to do against MK Dons? Do you think he's going to go, right, it's a trophy, let's play a very strong 11, go for it? Or do you reckon he wants to look more at the depth of the squad and maybe make some younger changes there and properly see the likes of James Wilson, Nick Powell, Tom Thorpe, who had a cracker against Liverpool under 21s? What do you reckon he'll do?
I think it's a difficult one, as you say, because every United manager, Ferguson, from my time as a United fan, has always treated the Capital League Cup as a youth cup to look at the players to blood in. But now United have, I think, unless we make massive signings, we're not going to be in the Premier League title race. So there's effectively 2 trophies that Van Gaal can win this season: the FA Cup and
Capital League Cup.
And I wouldn't be surprised to see him play a relatively strong side because at this stage in the season, it's obvious that United are still developing. And he said previously that at both Bayern and Barcelona, that it takes around 3 months for his sides to learn. And it's important to say learn, because he's said time and time again that he doesn't teach the players with their feet, he teaches them, he retrains their brains according to his method of thinking, his style. He wants players to learn how to play a different way. So I think a game that United are expected to win, it could be the perfect opportunity to just carry on and play the same players, because he's facing a race against time to get this United team up to speed before they're even potentially out of the running for a top 4 place. It may get to December and they're 15 points away from the top 4, whereas I think he should probably be using every single spare moment he can to get these players involved and get them thinking in a 3-5-2 formation.
And I must say a massive hello to Heartage and Rebecca, who are both saying like Khedira, Blind, Vidal, maybe players we could still bring into the club. But Tom, just quickly, just answering a question here from Callum. Just if you think about it, we signed Di Maria, perfect, but then we don't make any more signings. Do you think the 3-5-2 is the way? 3-5-1-2, the 3-5-2 is the way to go. Do you think it should be 4-3-3, or do you think we should go back to 4-4-2? Just quickly, in one word answer, which formation would you play with Di Maria in this squad?
Go for a 4-2-4, as we used to play with Tevez, Ronaldo, Rooney, Berbatov. I'd go for the 4 forwards, give them more freedom. Mata, Rooney, Van Persie, Di Maria. Have 2 holding midfielders and go for 4 in defence.
Okay, right, brilliant. Let's move on then. Let's go on to transfers, shall we? This is going to be fun. Di Maria, wow, what a signing. People talk about price. I believe it's 63.9 million with the add-ons, which is something like 75 million euros. I'm really angry, Mal. I just vent now. Duncan Castles, he can be stuck in a scout bin for all I care. And Brian Swanson at Sky Sports. I'll put it out there now. These guys who turn around and decide when we all know when the lead correspondents, these guys are amateur journalists at the places they're at, whether they're journalists or not, when their lead correspondents are saying, oh, wait a second, it's this amount, and they try and go, oh, but my sources are telling me that it's actually this amount when it's probably Indy Caira telling them that. It's just ridiculous. They're doing it for publicity. Never listen. If anyone over Twitter ever says that this is the amount that this club won, don't ever listen. At the end of the day, if a team really wants a deal done and it's as rumoured as much as Di Maria, it's rumoured as much as Vidal, it will be done. Vidal hasn't been done so far, which just makes you think, well, it might not even happen. Di Maria looks like it is actually being done. It's gone the next stage on now. So what I would say is never listen to rumoured price tags, ever. At the end of the day, the club are either going to announce it or it's going to be an undisclosed fee. At the end of the day, we still get the player. Who cares? So literally, just a point. Just ignore them. Just frustration there, really. Di Maria, how would he fit in? What do you reckon? What would he bring to United, Tom?
Well, Di Maria, I think anyone that watched Real last season will see that he brings pretty much everything. He has a superb engine. He is creative. He's got pace. He's got strength. He's a bit of a bully, which United need. He's not afraid to scrap for a victory. He's not afraid to fight for the win, which is something the United midfielders lacked since effectively Keane. And to an extent, Scholes would do that, but he used to just pick up yellow cards all the time. But since Keane, we've really lacked that player in the middle that can take a game to people who stand up and be counted, and that's what he'll bring. He's world class. There's no other way of putting it. He's just simply world class.
So you mentioned Keane there. Do you reckon he'll play more of a Keane role than a Ronaldo role? Do you not think he'll be put on the wing? Do you think he'll be put in the midfield?
Well, it's difficult because
I don't see. The problem is if you put Di Maria and Herrera in the midfield, I still believe we'll have the same problems as we have Fletcher Herrera. Personally, because Di Maria will want to go forward all the time. Herrera's not a defensive midfielder. He's just a midfielder. So I'm not sold on that. I'm not 100% sure. I mean,
well, at Real Madrid, he was he played as a winger for a lot of his career, and at Real Madrid, he was converted into a central midfielder under Carlo Ancelotti, and a lot of people at the time questioned the decision, but he said last season, that this new position has given me it's given me a new lease of life. And his stats last season, I mean, he created so many goals. He scored, he chipped in with loads of goals as well. His passing statistics were fantastic. He was converted into an energetic, creative central midfielder who can also play on the wing and cut in from the left, as we saw in the Champions League final when he created the goal for Bale. He drives at teams from midfield.
That scissor skill. Yeah. Oh God, that was ridiculous, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. He's just that type of player. He can run for the whole game. He can run for extra time. He's just he brings everything. He'll bring that fear factor back to Old Trafford that we've lacked for so long. That too often we've seen that pedestrian pace, getting the ball out to the wing and crossing it in. But it's seeing Young and Valencia on the wing sometimes it's difficult. But Di Maria will bring that pace back. He can drive players the way Ronaldo used to. He puts fear into defenders. He puts people on the back foot, which is something that we've lacked for years now.
I think also one great thing, and I don't know if you agree, but when you've got a world-class player, like I think Rooney it's a little bit less so now, and Van Persie in his third season. I think that when you have a world-class player like Ronaldo, like Mata, like Januzaj even last season, like Di Maria now, it makes teams think who are coming to Old Trafford, do you know what, actually we've got to be a little bit tighter here, which then restricts us to what we're doing. Which Sir Alex Ferguson, he has always had a player in his team with class, whether it's Cantona, whether it's Ronaldo, he's always had a player which a club, when they go to Old Trafford, thinks, well, actually, this is Cantona's stage. This is Ronaldo's stage. He's going to be bloody brilliant today. We need to make sure two men are always watching him. That then takes two players out of game, makes more room. I think that's one thing which is we've all witnessed in Old Trafford. And you can tell me I'm talking crap. You can tell me I'm not. But there's a lot less room on that pitch at Old Trafford nowadays. And I think that's because there isn't that fear factor of man marking. So I have asked the fans at the United View. Feel free to tweet us now. It's at the United View to get involved, or you can comment in the chat box right next to where you're seeing our lovely faces. Di Maria, how would he fit in? What formation? Where would he play? Hello to again DAY15, who says 4-1-3-2. Let's go back to 4 at the back. The holding midfielder, 3 in midfield and 2. Playing Herrera and then possibly Di Maria. Mata, Januzaj, RVP and Rooney all in the same kind of similar front position. God, that's a dream attack, isn't it?
That is.
Hello to Sharik Arabi, who says 4-3-3. Di Maria, RVP, Rooney, the front 3. I don't like Rooney on the left. I would rather play him where Mata's playing and stick someone out on the left.
I'd agree with that.
Maybe Januzaj.
Yeah, I think we've seen now that you know, we've tried it, we've tested it, but Rooney just doesn't work out on the wing. We need Rooney up front, and you know, Van Persie's still
behind or in front, isn't he?
Yeah, and I mean Van Persie's still coming back to fitness.
Yeah,
you know, we won't not necessarily get too many more years out of him, but we've got you know, youth prospects like you said before, like James Wilson coming through. He looks fantastic, and you know, so.
I'm such a massive fan of James Wilson. I don't think I've ever been so excited about football than I am James Wilson. Honestly, you might think, oh, he's English, you go the same way as the others. This guy is going to be something special. He really is. Yeah, and the best thing is he loves United. So we could be seeing a guy who in this era stays at United for his whole career. And honestly, he's such a massive fan. Also, looking at Man United fans, MUFC, they've tweeted us a formation. They want to play the diamond formation, the 4-4-2, but with Raphael, Jones, Rojo, Shaw, and a Herrera in front of the back 4. Di Maria on the right, Mata in the middle, Januzaj left, and Rooney and Van Persie. To be honest, it sounds amazing, but again, Herrera is not good enough to hold that midfield. He's not strong enough. He's not physiqued enough to hold that midfield. I mean, what do you reckon?
I think if you play a 4-4-2 diamond formation, the person sitting in front of the front 4 has to have that.
It's got to be gritty, hasn't he? It's got to be a beast.
Yeah, it has to be a Nemanja Matic. It has to be a Makaleli. It has to be the player that is going to take people out and not be afraid to get stuck into sliding tackles. Whereas I think Herrera, it's not a disservice to say he's not that type of player. He's a more creative player. He's more forward thinking, and that's what United need as well. We've needed a creative and a defensive midfielder now, and we've got the creative one in Herrera, but he can't, unfortunately. I don't think at least he can play that role. He could potentially play that role in Spain, but in England, there's a lot of bullies in the league, so we're going to need someone stronger.
I've got to say hello to Kevin Carter, MSP. Might have sent me the best tweet of the day so far today on this Di Maria discussion. I'd expect him to split in two and play both positions for 64 million. Love that. Also, hello to EPL Updaters, who says Di Maria is very strong in holding the ball and creating chances, which is what we like, really. So, from what everyone's saying, from most competitive position is a bit of a winger, really is the perfect player to play either the Adnan or Mata role behind the front two.
That's
more than out wide of the wing back.
Yeah, I think Van Gaal's two favoured formations really are the 3-5-2 and the 4-3-3, and Di Maria would slot perfectly into the 4-3-3 on the left side of the three, with say Herrera on one side and a defensive midfielder holding. That would of course mean that the front players would have to have a reshuffle. But the thing about Di Maria, as you say, the whole debate about the fact that whether he's now a central midfielder or a winger, he's both. He brings, with that huge fee, he does bring that. He is adaptable. We can play different formations with him, and he's proven that he's world class on the wing. He's world class in central midfield. So we've got a player that each weekend, as you said before, teams are going to be wondering how to face up against him, and it will depend on where Van Gaal plays him. So he's going to be tricky to defend against because players won't necessarily know where to pick him up every given Saturday and Sunday.
So yes or no question this, Tom. Is he worth the money we're going to spend on him?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Just quickly, on Madrid letting him go, obviously James Rodriguez, for him, that was always Perez's plan. As you said, Madrid, you don't have a clue why they're selling him.
Yeah.
So, do you reckon this could be a massive impact on Madrid, or do you think that maybe, you know, they can't? I mean, they let Ozil go, and we're all wondering, well, Ozil, is he really replaceable? I mean, they've got so many world-class players. They could even just forget about it. Could even be Cruz as a replacement. And for me, Cruz is a quality player. I mean, are Madrid really going to miss him that much?
It's a funny one, Madrid, because they're perhaps even considering Barcelona and Bayern, they're the one team in the world that can sell one of the best players in the world and not really feel it. You know, not really take a point, not really take a hit on points in the league or Champions League progression. But I think, like as I said before, Di Maria proved last season how important he was to Real Madrid. He was influential in the Champions League campaign, and he was one of the main reasons. I'd say he was probably the most important player. I mean, Ronaldo scored, I think, 17 goals in the Champions League, but I'd argue Di Maria was more influential in terms of them navigating tricky ties. And there's a good cartoon, actually. A lot of the viewers might have seen it doing the rounds on Twitter, of there's a gold Rolls Royce. And it's got all the players marked out as wing mirrors and things, but Di Maria has been chucked out as the engine, and that's what he is to Real Madrid. He's the engine. As I say, Cruz can play that role. Cruz is world class as well, and James Rodriguez, he got a lot of assists at Monaco, so effectively they bought two players to fulfil the same role that Di Maria played, but they won't miss him badly, but they'll feel it later on in the season. They really will, I think.
Well, we've got to move on. What we'll do, Tom, possibly when he does sign, we're thinking about doing a Di Maria special, just because he's an incredible signing that is going to be massive. And it's like the James Rodriguez transfer. You might be paying 69 million for him. I think they paid something like 80 million euros for James Rodriguez, and within 24 hours they made back 40 million euros on shirt sales. It is going to be ridiculous. So Di Maria, finish that conversation for today. As far as we know, he's going to be a Red, and I'm very excited for him to take to Turf Moor in Burnley. Coming up next then, Rojo. He's our brand new centre back, or a brand new defender, should I say. I watched him at the World Cup. I know he's a bit versatile. Didn't really watch him at Sporting. Would you, I don't know, in a few minutes, just give us a bit of background on Marcus Rojo, or Rojo? Do you even know how to pronounce his name properly to help us out? I mean, tell us a bit about him.
Yeah, I did. I learned the other week it's Marco Rojo. That's it. He's silent S, apparently. But he's, as you say, he's a versatile player. He was taken to the World Cup, and a lot of Argentina fans and pundits assumed that he was going to be the weak link in Ceballos' team, but he turned out to be one of the top players in the team, and he played every game apart from the round of 16 game that he was suspended for, I believe. But he's young, he's 24. He's not that expensive. He's got a World Cup final run under his belt. I think he brings to United, he brings exactly what we've been lacking in defence. He brings some bite, he brings some aggression, but also he brings a lot of skill. I mean, I'm sure anyone that's been watching the videos on YouTube would have seen him perform the Rabona trick in his own box at the World Cup. And you've got to have some real confidence to try that in a World Cup.
Yeah, but then again, that is also maybe a little bit of aggression and cockiness, which he, in the Premier League, you're never ever going to get away with, are you? Really, unless you have a De Gea against Fulham, I think it was that back.
He's going to struggle in that regard. I think we're going to have to get used to seeing him picking up a lot of bookings, because he picked up. I think he's got 4 red cards in 2 seasons. He picked up 2 last season. He picked up about 10 yellow cards. He is a fiery temper. You can see with the way he tried to negotiate and move away from Sporting. I mean, he tried, he missed training. He put out statements saying everything was okay, and he was denying acts of violence. I'm not saying any untoward behaviour happened, but the fact that he's been linked with it's a fairly fiery temper that we're dealing with in him, and I think.
But then again, that's great in a defender, isn't it? I mean, sorry to interrupt you, Tom. That's brilliant. Like to have a temper and an aggression in a defender. We saw that in Vidic with his first few seasons.
Yeah.
Everyone was just crapping themselves when they played Vidic.
Yeah.
They were scared, and he'll I don't really want to swear, but he'll fucking murder you. That's a chance. If we can have a defender like him in Marcus Rojo or Marco Rojo, we're flying. Surely.
Yeah, we desperately need that back since this summer we've lost Vidic, Ferdinand, and Evra, and you can legitimately question whether any of the three would have been first choice. Going forward long term because of Vidic's knee, Ferdinand's back, signing Luke Shaw. There were question marks over their long term fitness and long term role in the team. But we've lost so much experience and so much know-how in battling forwards. You could see it today. Jack Rodwell getting clear for a header, and that simply wouldn't have happened with the likes of Vidic there. They wouldn't have let that happen. They would have. Even if they weren't marking the attackers themselves, they'd be organising and telling people. They'd be ordering people, and that's what we lack. We lack that leadership. And Rojo, as you say, with his fiery temper and his talent in the back line, it's a big draw for us.
Now, EPL updaters, we asked the fans for their opinions on Marco Rojo. Of course, he's a centre back and a left back, isn't he? By trade, is there centre back?
He's a left-sided centre-back and a left wing-back, so he's adaptable.
Okay, EPL updaters have been in touch. Marcos Rojo is a great defender. His aggression is what United needs, someone who isn't happy with people messing up. So I suppose if he had Smalling next to him today, he would have a black eye or a bottle over his head. Hello to... no comment. We don't know anything about that. Hello to Mikey Essa, who says definitely in the 11 as a centre-back with Evans and Jones on the with Jones on the right and Shaw on the left, so he wants to go to 4-4-2 with Evans and Rojo. Ian says he'd definitely play next to Johnny Evans. Hello to DA15 who says that Jones and Rojo, but again he wants to go back to a back four with Raphael and Shaw on the wings. Also Jadam says Phil Jones. Hello to as well to Kamik Kesby, who's in the chat right now. You can join the debate in the chat next to us here with other United fans, or you can tweet us at the United View. That's at the United View. Give us a follow, we'll follow you back. Kamik Kesby says Rojo brings a lot of aggression, which you've just said, and that's what we need. Jones, Blackett, and Rojo, this is going to work. And to be honest, that is what I said in my 11 earlier on. The way Blackett's playing at the moment, I mean, I just wouldn't drop him because he seems to just be coming on leaps and bounds every game, and he wants to learn. He's big and he's got left foot as well. So,
he's a passer.
About our defence, obviously, rumours to the Benita. I think he's going to Bayern. I think I've more or less been told he's going to Bayern, and it's done. So he's out of the question. Blind is being again mentioned, but my only problem with him is I personally want Luke Shaw to shine, so I wouldn't want Blind going and playing a couple of good games with Shaw being out of the team. Vla is another name mentioned.
I would.
For me, I would have gone for Vermaelen, but and they said I know there's injuries ahoy and everything, but it's the experience there, and it's the fact that he's always going to keep our defenders on their toes because he's always going to be there. But they wanted Smalling, didn't they? And money. And on Smalling's performance today, I would have let him go. I mean, he punts the ball too much. He's not calm. His legs and not ahead. Personally, Phil Jones is crucial. I think if Evans was fit, Smalling wouldn't get a look in. Again, Blackett's doing well. Rojo's in there. Talking about the United defence, do we need another centre back?
I say yes. I think that's at the moment, especially with the injuries, we've effectively got the same team as last season minus Vidic and Ferdinand, and that's just no way to go forward if we've got any pretensions of the top four. You look at the options that other sides have got, the likes of Liverpool, they've got 4 or 5 centre backs that would walk into our team, like it or lump it. But I'm a big fan of Jones. I'm a big fan of Evans. Smalling less so. But if we're going to play a 3 at the back, we certainly need at least one more defender. As you mentioned, Daley Blind before, he can play centre back, he can play left wing back, he can play defence in midfield. I think he'd be a good signing to fill the gaps, to plug the gaps, because any week if there's an injury or there's a strain or a knock to someone, if Van Gaal wants to play tactically, he can play Blind practically 3 or 4 positions.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and of course he's Dutch, so he knows a philosophy which Van Gaal keeps going on about.
Yeah, he's got a good passing philosophy. We saw it at the World Cup, making a couple of assists for Van Persie against Spain with
flying
long balls from the side. Yeah, that iconic goal. I mean, that's what he would bring. He'd bring calmness. He'd bring some aggression, but he's also a great passer of the ball, and I think that's Van Persie at the moment.
So the United View, of course, all about your opinions as a fan. So we're going to get your questions in just a moment. But each week we're going to do a fun sort of poll, and you can be involved on @the United View. Keep up to date tweets during the week, and of course subscribe to our YouTube channel now. We've still got a little bit longer left. I reckon we've got about 10 minutes left. We're just going to have a bit of fun now. There's been an uproar on Twitter, especially with United fans this week. Most of them not worried, most of them laughing, most of them really giving this guy some stick, and that guy's Mario Balotelli, of course, a former City player. Now looks like he's signing for the Scousers. Tom, yes or no? Do you think there's a player on this planet who United fans can hate more than this guy right now?
It's a difficult one because he brings so much to the table, doesn't he? But
why always me?
I'm personally, from a journalistic point of view, I love Balotelli's. He makes his own headlines. He's just one of a kind. He's good for the Premier. He's like Mourinho. You love to hate him. He's just a good one for the Premier League. But there are plenty of other players that dislike. I'm not a fan of Lee Cattermole. Not a fan of Michael Brown. He's had a few run-ins with stamping on Ryan Giggs.
Vieira's another one, isn't he? I mean, but we've more or less focused on players who are still playing now. Of course, we go back into the past like Martin Keown, but we just thought, what about players now? So we've given United fans the options on Twitter today to retweet in favour. We've given them a short list of Suarez, Tevez, and Steven Gerrard. So are you ready for the results?
Yeah.
So we had in the end 130 votes on Balotelli or Suarez. What do you reckon? Who do you reckon they've gone with? Who do United fans hate more, Balotelli or Suarez?
I'd say Suarez.
Yeah, only 9 people went with Balotelli. 121 United fans say they hate Suarez more.
It's he's not endeared himself to Red Devils fans at all. With Liverpool, Evra. I'm
just hearing. Duncan Castles has tweeted Suarez is close to a United move. Let's see how that pans out. My next one is Gerrard or Balotelli, and in this one there's been a good 90 odd votes. What do you reckon? Balotelli or Gerrard? Who do United fans hate more?
I'd say Gerrard.
Yeah, 72 fans went for Steven Gerrard to the 17 on Balotelli. So United fans hate Suarez more and Gerrard more than Balotelli. But the final one. Who do United fans hate more, Balotelli or Carlos Tevez?
It's got to be Tevez.
Yeah, 117 fans voted that they hated Carlos Tevez, more than Mario Balotelli. It's all right now he's in a Juventus shirt, but it will never be welcome at Old Trafford again.
No, you gotta. He's another one. He just can't stop talking.
No, and it's really awkward because I thought he was brilliant when he was playing for United, and I was gutted when he went.
I think that's there's a fine line between love and hate in football, and that's what makes it so painful. He was fantastic.
Yeah, that was really painful. And hello to the guys also now on Twitter who are coming out with the Steven Gerrard jokes left, right, and centre. Nanny for Gerrard, nil, and we're paying his wages. Yeah. There we go. Just quickly, and you did say as a journalist, Balotelli's great. He's brilliant to be back in the Premier League. We don't want to talk about him going to Liverpool, but what kind of impact do you think he'll make?
I think he's a great option for them. Off the bench, I think he won't necessarily be starting ahead of Sturridge, but against weaker teams, I think they may play Sturridge, Suarez, Sterling. I mean, 3 S's. They'll be fantastic together. Some options. They need those for the Champions League, and I think his agent as well has said that it's his final chance with a massive club. And I think it's a little early to write off Balotelli. I mean, he's 24, I think. But you know, he needs to take this chance. Liverpool need a good striker who won't necessarily expect to play all the time. So I think it'll be a move that works out as long as we don't see the old Mario.
Do you reckon he'll start?
I don't think so at the moment. I think he'll be more for rotation with Sturridge, Champions League games. He's got the Champions League know-how that Liverpool have been lacking. So he knows how to hold the line against big teams. So
let's just hope he doesn't store at Old Trafford again, eh? Let's just hope that one. Right, let's move on then. We don't want to talk about Liverpool any longer, but it's official. Suarez, Steven Gerrard are more hated, and also Sozo, Carlos Tevez, and Balotelli. So there we go, we're winning. Let's move on then to fans' corners. Fans, this is all about you. You've discussed our opinions and our debates with us. Now it's over to you. We want to discuss your debates. So at the United View, or comment in the box. I think it's just over on that side. Or is it that side of where I'm pointing to it? Get involved. Tell us what you want us to talk about. Hello to Daryl. IJD. A bit off topic, well, actually, completely off topic. Can we just talk about the cat invading the pitch at Barca today?
We can indeed, yeah. Minute into...
Apparently, he reckons we should sign him. 69 million.
Yeah, Athletic, yep. Yeah. Minute into Barca's new season, you know, Luis Enrique gets stuff off to a nice start, but yeah. Yeah,
I was told that was Suarez in disguise, though. We all know cats can bite quickly, don't we? Let's move on. That's my joke of the day. Hello to who's this here? Hello to Damon Away, who says thoughts on Lucas Silva. Him plus a top draw centre midfielder like Vidal should be good. I think if we're going to move for Lucas Silva, who's a very talented young lad, 21 years old from Cruzeiro, great passing range, great strength, great agility, I think we're personally going to be looking for someone like him and maybe De Jong, or you've mentioned Alex Song. I mean, give us your opinions on the midfielders, on Lucas Silva, De Jong, Song. What do you reckon we should go for? What do you reckon we should do?
I think, as you say, Lucas Silva is talented, but I'd prefer us to go for one of perhaps Song or De Jong while we wait for Strootman, because Song is proven Premier League quality. Barca don't sign players if they don't think they're up to it, if they haven't studied them and analysed them. If he was good enough for Barcelona, then he's certainly good enough for us at the moment. He wouldn't necessarily play a massive creative role, because at Barcelona he's been shifted into more of a defensive role. He doesn't create much at the moment, but he keeps the ball. His passing stats are 92-93% for the last couple of seasons. He would give us that solidity in front of the defence, or even in the defence at centre-back. I'd like to see maybe De Jong, 10 million. It wouldn't be that much for, you know, yet again, another proven top-class player. He's got the experience in the Champions League for his country. He knows how to play. He knows he's a clever player. We need one of those. But Strootman as well, he's the one that Van Gaal seems to be waiting for. So I wouldn't mind either of Song or De Jong coming in while we wait for Strootman in January or the summer.
Fair points. Personally, I would pay the money for Lucas Silva just because he's young. Whether he's on the bench for this season or next season doesn't really matter. He's still going to get games. He's a young lad who can improve just by playing for under-21s. He is outstanding, and 12-13 million rumoured. I mean, come on, Edward. But apparently we've got money. Let's just spend it. We're not at the point anymore where we can negotiate. Football is no longer a negotiating table. You want a player, you pay for him. So, again, him and Strootman in January, I've got to agree. But do you know what? After reading your blog, personally, I'm more tempted for Song than De Jong. He's got Premier League experience. Obviously, De Jong's got Premier League experience, but he's got Premier League experience with them. Alex Song has Premier League. Yeah, no, exactly. He's a great option. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Who knows what can happen? Hello to Jake on Twitter, who says, regardless of the captaincy, who would you drop? Should we move to a 4-3-3? So who would you go for? Rooney or Van Persie? Who would you drop if we went to a 4-3 and one striker?
At the moment, I drop. I think Van Gaal has effectively said it already. He made Rooney captain. He said the captain has to be someone who's not going to drop. So if there was going to be a player who's going to drop, he would drop Van Persie. He showed it in the World Cup. Vital point. He took Van Persie off when Netherlands needed goals. Huntelaar came on and scored he scored the vital penalty. I mean, he's shown it before. He's not afraid to drop Van Persie, and Van Persie needs the time to get fit for the season again. You know, he wasn't particularly impressive at the World Cup, despite the goals he scored, and he wasn't impressive today. So at the moment, I'd be more inclined on the wages Rooney is on. He's the one that's got to start in a 4-3-3 if we play 4-3-3.
Yeah, I've got to agree. We can't talk about the Rojo situation because personally I don't know anything about it. Apparently it's on trial in Spain. I don't know if it is a trial or an inquest. There's a few different words being pushed about that, but we don't know anything about it. And either way, you know, that we will know whether it's serious or not, whether it affects his work permit. You know, if it's so serious, they won't give him a work permit. So then I don't know what situation we'll be in personally, but yeah, basically, if it's serious, he won't get a work permit. If it's not serious, then it's literally nothing to worry about, and he'll get his work permit. So that's I think all we can say on that. I don't know if you know anything more about
that. Not currently, no.
No, right, okay. Let's move on then to Tomiwa, who says, "Can we talk about Vidal?" I mean, we've Vidal's always come up this summer. We've spoken about other midfielders. I think that United were personally waiting. I think they're worried about his knee. I think there was talks there, but they're worried about his knee. Is he now a crucial signing, or do you think we should play this a little bit more clever with, say, a Song or a Lucas Silva? I mean, just quickly, what do you reckon?
I think he was vital at the start of the summer when we needed a statement signing, but now that statement signing seems to be Di Maria. I would say I would have said last season if we could have got Vidal, then should have got him at all costs. But there is the problem with his knee. The Chile doctor said when he had his operation before the World Cup that if he has this operation, then he'll be fit for the World Cup, but he won't have the same. He won't have the same ability going forward. The injury was definitely going to impact his knee in the subsequent operation. So he took that, he made the sacrifice to play for his country at the World Cup, but that has raised doubts over whether, he's an effective long-term signing. And given how he was stung by the Hargreaves deal, I wouldn't necessarily be inclined to spend a lot of money on a midfielder who might not necessarily be playing. If we're going to pay 40 million upwards, then it's got to be on a player that is going to play effectively every single week, who's going to be proven. And that's what Di Maria brings.
That's why someone like Lucas Silva, for me, is a great investment for 13 million, and then someone like Song Hee-Jong, who have suffered with their injuries for 10 million, are good. I mean, we'll wait and see. It's going to be an amazing into the transfer window, and hopefully, Tom, you'll join us between now and then because it'll be a fascinating debate. Just so you know, we've had some information in about Angel Di Maria, so Sky Sports outlets, and Tom, obviously, you guys, everyone's reporting a fee of around £63 million, right?
Yeah, that's about right. Yep.
Plus with add-ons. Also, we're hearing medical and contract signed tomorrow. We're hearing that's what's going on. As far as most of the press are concerned, especially in Spain, United's reluctance to comment is that they do not like commenting on fees being agreed. They like commenting on when the player's actually about to sign. If you remember to the Herrera transfer, we didn't announce it until he was holding the shirt. Same with Luke Shaw. And with Rojo, it was Sporting who announced it when the fee was agreed. Yep. So United just repeated on it. So Ancelotti's come out and said he's leaving, he's gone, that it's more or less agreed. He's just Di Maria's just got to sign the papers. That will, as far as Sky and Merca and another really reliable paper in Spain is concerned, will happen tomorrow. So he'll be in Manchester tomorrow. He's flying in tomorrow afternoon, which is the information I'm reading. And one of the journalists says Enrique Sacco, who's part of the Spanish ESPN group, really well respected. He says that United will present Angel Di Maria on Tuesday. Another rumour doing the rounds is, because it's such a massive signing, they're not sure whether there's going to be an open stadium presentation. Now, I don't remember this happening, Tom, ever, for a player signing for United.
I can't remember that. I mean, it's effectively, exclusively a pastime of Real Madrid and Barcelona, but the fact that it's a signing of such magnitude that, I mean, it'd be, correct me if I'm wrong, but it'd be a British transfer fee record. Yeah. It would smash the Fernando Torres fee. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there was, because United need something big this summer, They need that statement. And I'm not necessarily a fan of the open air presentations, but it would give fans a massive lift, and you might see the same. An event like this and a signing like this may give United the lift that Mesut Ozil gave Arsenal last season. Players raise their game to play with him. Fans, are excited by a player like that, and that's what United are craving at the moment. That's what the fans want.
Yeah, and also it's worth pointing out the guys who are telling us that Tuesday's going to be the presentation. It's a little bit weird because I believe the Capital One Cup press conference is tomorrow because we play Tuesday. So I don't really think that adds up. I think everything will be done and dusted and announced tomorrow, personally. Just if you look at common sense value.
Van Gaal said after the game, he said, I can't comment on any transfers and any players, but he said, I like Di Maria. And as we were talking before, he said he also liked Leo Messi and Vidal, but he can't.
Yeah, well, we all know Messi's a done deal. That's happening. But other than that, we're not sure. But yeah, Tom, obviously it's going to be an exciting week for us United fans. Di Maria set to sign the iconic number 7 shirt. If it all goes wrong, then I'm going to go and apply to be chairman of Manchester United because I can do a better job than Edward would. So, hopefully next time.
Out the window, so.
I'm quitting Twitter. I'm not actually going to tweet that because it might actually have to happen. Tom, hopefully you'll join us or something if we do this Di Maria update. Obviously, you guys busy right now, obviously getting stuff ready, but tomorrow could be the day. Could
be the biggest day of the summer of the season for us.
It really could. Tom, thank you for joining us tonight. Tom Doyle, you can catch him on Twitter at Tom J Doyle. He's the guy in our Experts Corner. He's a freelance writer and editor for ESPN, Scorecard and Goal, 3 amazing sites who don't just dedicate their time to football. They do to sports in general. So go check out Tom on Twitter at Tom J Doyle and make sure you read his song blog as well because it's incredible. It's what's driven me to want Song to come to Manchester United. So at Tom J Doyle.
Maybe I should have a little word with Ed Woodward then. Yeah.
Well, by the way, I'm going to take his job if Di Maria transfer doesn't come in. So he's the first on my list. Yeah. Thank you, Tom. Thank you very much. Thank you guys for watching at the United View. We're going to be back next Sunday. We could be back during the week for a League Cup / Di Maria special. We're just working out whether we should or we shouldn't. Make sure to let us know your views on tonight at the United View. Send us a tweet. It'd be good to hear from you guys. Thank you for watching. The views have been great tonight. Brilliant interaction. Thank you for getting in touch. If we don't speak to you before, we'll be back Sunday at some point after 7 o'clock. Tom, once again, thank you, mate. And guys, thank you for watching.
Thanks. Cheers.